News has learned of an Internal Revenue Service investigation involving an Omaha nonprofit that assists Latino police officers and the South Omaha community. Tax attorney Howard Kaplan tells us the Latino Peace Officers Association is fully cooperating with a federal investigation. The organization's vice president, Greg Gonzalez, says the bookkeeper for the nonprofit has turned over financial records to the IRS. Gonzalez says the attorney for the nonprofit told him the Latino Peace Officers Association is being treated as a victim of fraud. He says federal agents have dealt directly with the bookkeeper and tax attorney. Gonzalez says he has not been contacted by federal agents, but he intends to cooperate in any investigation.